What's up everyone? If this is your first time joining us, we're Ben and Jelaine with Nomadic Visuals, and in today's video we're going to be building a DIY roof rack. We're going to be constructing it out of 12 gauge slotted unistrut that we sourced at the depot. First things first, we're going to paint it all matte black. That way it has a nice cohesive look with the rest of the van. Now that everything's painted up, looking super snazzy, we are headed up to the rooftop of the van. It has these little like mounting bracket things on the roof that we'll be hooking these little buddies to, and then we'll be bolting the unistrut down to these using the hardware that comes with them. Here's what one looks like already on there, but we just put this one on just to kind of see how everything went together. We'll be backing these two out and then running them down through the holes in the slotted unistrut.
Before you start installing your roof rack, make sure your roof's clean. Otherwise you're going to be putting on your roof rack on top of a dirty roof. Ben's currently giving her a good wash. He's pretty stoked about it.
The stoke is high right now.
You can tell the excitement in each stroke of that brush.
Now that we have everything measured out for the lateral struts, it's time to cut them, and then we'll stick them in for a dry fit before bolting them down. And just like every other simple task on the van, it turns into a 3-day ordeal. Well, at least this is day 3 on our roof rack. Unfortunately, don't really like to admit that. Day 1 was consumed by painting and letting the paint dry. And then yesterday we started to assemble everything, only to realize that the cross members will not go from like this point and tie over into the other side flush with those rails, because the roof arcs, and so it like teeter-totters right in the center. So we figured out that wouldn't work yesterday, and then so we had to change the way that the solar panels were mounted. Still trying to use the mounting brackets that we bought, and we tried to modify those quite a bit and realized that that wouldn't work either based off the holes on the solar panels, and I don't know, it's been a real headache. So last night we went back to Lowe's to get more hardware to try and use the same solar mounting brackets again with no luck. So we're going to completely nix the mounting brackets that we have, the hardware kit that we got with the mounting brackets, the hardware kit that we got at Lowe's last night. We went back to Lowe's this morning for the 3rd or 4th time for this same project. Big surprise, right? And hopefully we put something together today. 2 of the 4 sticks of unistrut that we bought, we're going to have to just eat that because we already painted it. Those were intended to be the crossbars, and like I mentioned earlier, those are not going to work. So we have to eat that cost currently. I painted the brackets to mount those. I'm hoping we can repurpose those when we go to mount the solar panels today. And hopefully the place that we ordered the solar panel mounting brackets and all of that hardware will be able to take those back. I'm not really sure how that works yet, but here's to today. You. First things first, we have to unbolt all of these all the way down and slide everything back 1 hole. We overhung it 1 hole on both sides, and we did that really just so it would look more uniform from the ground, but the way we're having to mount the solar panels, it's not going to work that way. We need 2 holes, 1 for the solar panel, 1 for our mounting bracket to attach to the unistrut. So we're going to do that, and then I guess we're going to have to wash the roof all over again because we parked the van outside under this massive oak tree. Thanks, buddy. and it got crap all over the roof. So we have to clean that up because once the solar panels are on, that will be a lot tougher job.
So the original mounting brackets that we bought, they were supposed to be flush mount brackets for the solar panels, and they were to attach like this, and then the solar panel was to attach here and also on the other side. However, what we didn't account for was the width that is between this mount or this rail and that rail. Our solar panel was a lot larger than the space that we had. Another solution we had was to flip this thing around and mount it underneath and have the solar panel come out this way. But this hole on the farthest most outside part of the solar panel wouldn't line up on both sides, so that didn't work. We did some noodle scratching to come up with our new plan, so hopefully that works a lot better.
We have all of the solar panels laid out. We ended up going with Renergy 200 watts, and what we're having to do right now is we marked the center of where all of these are going to mount up, and we're just having to slide these holes over just a little bit so they will mount centered on the rails that we put up on the van roof already. So fortunately it's aluminum and our drill bit eats it up with semi-ease, so it's not too terrible. But we have to do this on all four corners of all of them, and then we can attach the brackets, attach all of the panels together as one unit, and then we'll be putting them up on the roof and attaching them to our roof rails. Okay, so all of the holes are drilled and we're just like lining up our little plates. These aren't necessarily the ones that I would go out and buy. I don't know if you can see, this is a whole plate right here. I know it has a back background, but we already painted these black, so we can't return them. I would probably just use one that didn't have this piece, so it looked a little bit better. The one benefit to these are they have 3 holes rather than 4, so we don't have to have them as far apart. And also we have these funky guys on the side, but really we just need this section. But it's all good. We're using what we have. So we spent like $40 on those stupid things, so I feel kind of silly going and buying more at this point. So yeah, we're using what we have. I don't think anyone will ever see any of it. It may drive Jelaine and I crazy in the meantime, but that's just how this van build's gone. So going to bolt all of these together, make it one solid unit, and then hopefully get it up on the van today. Everything is bolted up, and now it is one unit. 3 panels, 1 unit, and we are ready to put them up there. Hopefully it's as easy as it sounds. I think we got lucky, and we're going to be able to cheat a little bit getting them up there because they're pretty heavy. So what's that saying? Use your brain, not your back. Is that it? Work smarter, not harder. That's it. Obviously, I've never done that, so today's the first. We weren't strong enough to lift it up by ourselves, so we had to call on the big guns. And just like that, the solar panels are in place. You just need this guy and one of these. We're just temporarily fastening these in, and then we'll move over to the other side. We just kind of want to put these here so everything doesn't move around. We'll go to the other side, and then we can actually put Loctite on those and fasten them permanently, and then come back and do the same to this side.
All right, we're working on the last one. Here's the Loctite. We're all mounted up. Success. Thank you for watching today's video. As always, it's time for our tips, tricks, mistakes, and costs.
First things first, we used Unico, which is the brand of the mounting brackets that attach to the cleats on our Promaster, and that's what you'll actually be attaching the Unistrut to. As far as the Unistrut goes, we used 1 5/8. You can get 13/16 Unistrut, which we probably would have bought if we had known that the arc in our roof wouldn't hinder from putting lateral supports on it. So we did learn that. But before you even get started on any of that, clean the heck out of your roof, because once the solar panels are on, you're not going to be able to clean that with ease whatsoever. So go ahead and do that, save yourself some trouble in the future, and then get started with your project.
So one of our mistakes is we didn't even think about the width of our solar panels versus the width of our actual roof rack, the width in between the rails of what it actually amounts to. We just kind of ordered some solar panels, ordered the roof rack, the mounting brackets, the mounting hardware, and it didn't work for us. So just think ahead, know the measurements, figure out how you're gonna mount it to if you're gonna have the lateral supports, if you're gonna use the 13/16 versus the 1 5/8, that lateral arc. And that way the mounting of those actual solar panels would be a lot easier, because we even contemplating returning the solar panels, trying to find something that was within the range of the width of the roof rack versus the bigger ones, and being able to do that lateral. Because if you use 1 5/8 Unistrut, you can't, well, you can, but it just makes it that much taller if you attach the 13/16 on top of that to make those lateral moves. So if you are going to have those lateral struts in between, definitely make sure you get the 13/16 versus the 1 5/8.
Or you can just be like us and drill additional holes in your solar panels, which really was kind of daunting at first, but it turned out not to really be a big deal. We were like, I don't know if we should do that. But I mean, pretty much anything on a van that you do, you have to customize it to some extent. Yeah. So at that point, we were definitely used to doing all of that. So it wasn't really that big of a deal after all. As far as mounting them, we put everything together on the ground as one unit, and then we were lucky my dad had a bucket truck and just lifted it right up there for you. More than likely your dad doesn't have a bucket truck, and so if that's the case, I would just probably attach one mounting bracket on both the top and the bottom of the solar panels, and then set them up individually and attach them once they're on the roof. They're not that heavy to lift two up just to drop a bolt in, so you could definitely do that. But we were spoiled and lucked out and had a bucket truck. In order to attach the solar panels to the Unistruts, you have to use these spring nuts, and so that's what we use to in between them. They're kind of a pain to get and sit inside the Unistrut. They kind of want to go down, so you just kind of got to work with them and just know it's going to be a pain and kind of go with it. But once you actually do get that in there, you just run a bolt down through it, and what it does is just pinches it against the top of the Unistrut, and it's super secure. I was kind of leery about it at first. I was like, yeah, I don't know about this, but it's on there. It's in there like swimwear. We've driven 80 miles an hour down the interstate with it, and all is well so far. As far as the cost goes, just for the rack and the mounting, the Unica mounting system only, and the hardware that we use for that came in at $310.81. You could go a little bit cheaper if you bought the right brackets that go in between the solar panels. The ones we use, they were magnetic, and they're pretty cool, but we did paint those and couldn't return them, so that kind of made the cost go up, I don't know, maybe $30 or so. And as far as the rest of the unistrut that we bought and painted already that we didn't use, it wasn't a total waste like we had thought it was. We did end up using it for the lateral struts on our bed system. So that worked out in our favor. Hit us up in the comments if you all have any questions or comments for that matter. Consider subscribing if you haven't already for more van build content. We're Ben and Jelaine with Nomadic Visuals, and we'll see you in the next one.